Ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu alecha Yaakov, Mishknotecha Yisrael, Mishknotecha Yisrael, Vani berov chastecha avovetecha, Eshtachave, eshtachave, el heichal kodshecha, beiratecha, el heichal kodshecha, beiratecha, Adonai ahavti me'on beitecha umikol mishkan kivodecha va'ani eshtachave ve'echra Lifnei Adonai osi. Vani tefilati Adonai eit ratzon Elohim berov chastecha Aneni be'emet ishecha, be'emet ishecha.
A Hasidic tale tells of a soap maker and a rabbi walking through their village. The soap maker asked the rabbi, "Rabbi, why have we been studying the Torah for thousands of years? It teaches us the values of truth, kindness, compassion, and love. Yet, if we look at the world, all we see is lies, meanness, apathy, and violence. Why hasn't the Torah succeeded in helping us do teshuvah, changing our lives for the better?" Just then, the rabbi and soap maker noticed a young boy, dirty and grimy. The rabbi said to the soap maker, "What good is the soap you make? It has been around for years and years, and yet look at this dirty little boy. Why hasn't your soap help to make little children more clean and neat?" The soap maker answered, "Well, soap is no good unless you use it." "Aha," the rabbi answered, "so it is with the Torah. Unless we apply its teaching to our daily lives and cleanse our immoral souls with its moral values, it is of no use." We enter this Sabbath of Sabbaths, Yom Kippur, committed to teshuvah, changing our lives for the better. As we read and sing our prayers today, listen to the words of our scripture, the words of our prayers, the teachings of our tradition, and let those words sink into your souls. Listening is the first step. If all we do is listen, then it's like having soap we do not use. This year, we can all pick up some spiritual soap, teshuvah, the Torah, mitzvot. This year, we can translate the words we hear today into actions we perform all year, actions that bring into our world the Torah's moral values of truth, kindness, compassion, and love. We turn now in our prayer books, our machzor, to page 178 for Baruch Hu, the call to prayer. Please rise if you are able.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, whose power fills the cosmos, who opens for us the gates of compassion and lights up the eyes of those who await forgiveness, shaper of light, source of the darkness, maker of peace, creator of all. Infinite light is preserved in life's treasure house. Lights from the darkness, said God. It was so. In love, you bring light to the earth and its creatures. Your goodness renews the creation each day. Infinite, varied, and rich are your works, divine artist, all of them wrought with wisdom. The whole earth is teeming with life. Awestruck by the universe, work of your hands, let all life bless you, praise you, and celebrate the beauty of your lights. May you shine a new light on Zion, and may we soon be privileged to share in that light.
Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot.
Page 182. Love abundant, love unstinting. Our God, you have enfolded us in love. Tender compassion beyond all bounds, your precious gift. Our fathers and mothers gave you their trust, and you gave them Torah, laws by which to live. For their sake, teach us as well. Grace us with your guidance. Loving Father, merciful Mother of us all, grant us clear understanding that we may listen, learn, and teach, preserve, practice, and fulfill with love every lesson of your Torah. May learning your Torah light up our eyes. May our hearts embrace your mitzvot. Unite us in love and reverence for you, that we may never feel ashamed of our deeds. We have trusted in your great and holy name. Now let us celebrate at last the joy of your salvation. Bring us in peace from the four corners of the earth. Lead us with upright pride to the land that is ours. For you are a God of miracles and wonders. From all the peoples of the earth you sought us out and brought us near to your great enduring truth. So with love we acknowledge and proclaim that you are one.
Baruch atah Adonai Habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. And you may be seated. To continue with the Haftarah on page 188. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele Asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha, vishinantam levanecha, vidibarta bam, bishivtecha bevetecha, uvlechtecha vaderech, uvshochbecha, uvkumecha. Ukshartam leot ayadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvish'arecha, lima antizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, v'hiot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet.
True and steadfast is this teaching, beloved and treasured, a source of wonder, a fount of goodness, a thing of beauty, and ours for all time. And true it is, the eternal God is our sovereign, the rock of Jacob, our protecting shield. Through all generations, God's name lives on, God's throne stands firm, God's dominion prevails. God's grandeur and faithfulness endure through eternity. God's words are precious. They will live forever. From Egypt you redeemed us, Adonai our God, and from the slave house you set us free. For this, the people who felt your love exalted you, and the ones you found precious sang hymns of praise, blessing, thanks to the living God who reigns forever, high and exalted, inspiring wonder, who humbles the proud and raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed, sustains the poor. God responds to the cry of our people, their prayer in time of need. Sing praise to God Most High, most blessed source of blessing, as Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang this joyous song to you.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati lot, osefele, norati lot, osefele, shira chadasha, shibichu geulim, lishimcha al sifat hayam, Yachar kulam hodu v'himlichu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Tzur Yisrael Tzur Yisrael Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael Ufidei chinumecha Yehuda v'Yisrael Go'aleinu Go'aleinu Adonai tzivavot shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Ata Adonai Gaal Yisrael. Let's pause as we take a moment for our own silent reflection and prayer. You can use the words of the prayer book or the words of your own heart. The central text of these high holidays is Unetanneh Tokef, an ancient piyut or poem. You can follow along with the text beginning on page 208. Unetanneh Tokef Kiddushat Hayom Ki hu nora ve'ayom uvot hinase malchutecha ve'ikon b'chesed kis'echa v'teshev alav be'emet.
Let us proclaim the power of this day, a day whose holiness awakens deepest awe and inspires highest praise for your dominion. For your throne is a throne of love. Your reign is a reign of truth. In truth, you are judge and plaintiff, counselor and witness. You inscribe and seal. You record and recount. You remember all that we have forgotten. And when you open the book of memories, it speaks for itself. For every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no other.
Uvishofar gadol yitaka, v'kol d'mamadaka yishama, u'malachim yechafezun, v'chil u're'ada yochezun, u'malachim yechafezun, v'chil re'ada yochezun, ושופר גדול ייתקע, וקול דממה דקה יישמע, ומלאכים יחפזון, וחילו רעדה יוחזון, ומלאכים יחפזון, וחילו רעדה יוחזון. ויאמרו הנה יום הדין, לפקוד על צבא מרום בדין, כי לא יזכו בניך בדין. וכל באי עולם יעברו לפניך כבני מרום. כבקרת רועה מעביר צונו תחת שבטו, כן תעביר ותספור ותמנה, ותפקוד נפש כל חי, ותחתוך קצבה לכל בריאה, ותכתוב את גזר דינם. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון. כמה יעבורון וכמה יבראון. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון. מי יחיה ומי ימות, מי בקיצו ומי ולא קיצו, מי באש ומי במים, מי בחרב ומי בחיה, מי ברעב. Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun Uviom Tzom Kippur Uviom Tzom Kippur Yechatemun Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun Uviom Tzom Kippur Uviom Tzom Kippur Yechatemun Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun Mi varash Umi v'magefa Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun Mi v'chanika Umi v'sekila Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun Uviom Tzom Kippur Yechatemun Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun Uviom Tzom Kippur Uviom Tzom Kippur Yechatemun Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun Uviom Tzom Kippur Uviom Tzom Kippur Yechatemun Mi yanuach mi yanua mi ashkid mi toraf mi shalev mi yaser mi yani mi yashir mi ushpal mi yarum.
On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted?
Uteshuva utvila utzedaka ma'avirin et ro'a hagezera.
But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. You are everything that we praise you for, slow to anger, quick to forgive. You do not wish the death of sinners, but urge them to return from their ways and live. Until the day of death, you wait for them. You accept them at once if they return. Since you created us, you know our impulses. We are but flesh and blood. We who are mortal, our origin is dust, and so is our end. We wear out our lives to get our bread, like broken vessels, like withered grass, like a flower that must fade, a shadow moving on, a cloud passing by, mere dust on the wind, a dream that flies away.
Ve'ata hu melech el chai v'kayam ein kitzva lishnotecha ve'ein kates leorech yamecha ve'ein lishaer markevot kevodecha ve'ein lifaresh ilum shemecha shimcha na'elecha ve'ata na'elishmecha Ushmenu karata vishmecha Ushmenu karata vishmecha.
We are pleased to invite to the Bima Harry Friedberg, co-president of our congregation, who will deliver this year's presidential message on behalf of our presidential Vod.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shana Tova and Gemar Tov to all. You know, like most of you out there, I've found myself with a bit more time on my hands lately. For a while, I thought having this extra time was great. I got more work done, had more time for the family, and was able to tackle all those long-delayed projects around my house. But now, after raising the best hydrangeas on the block, walking practically every inch of Montclair, and binge-watching Stranger Things for the third time, well, I find myself still with a lot of time. So now, most of that time is spent thinking about, well, time. Not in the ways that I used to think about time when I was a kid, like trying to see if I can negotiate an extra 15 minutes of TV from my parents. Yes, my salesmanship started at a very young age. Or the standard thoughts I had as a kid, like, what time is dinner? Or maybe the thoughts that you in the audience are having right now, like, how much time is this guy gonna take talking? A fair warning, I clocked in at 9 minutes and 22 seconds last year, so you better get settled in. No, my thoughts about time come with age. I prefer to think of it as experience. When I first started as a board member at Temple Shalom, I had 2 kids still in elementary school. My eldest daughter was finally adjusting to middle school, and Taylor Swift was, well, she was still at least a little bit country. After this year, middle school will be a distant memory. Provided we are able, we'll soon start college campus tours, and no doubt one of those campuses will soon be the new home for my baby girl in 2 very short years. It seems like yesterday we were packing diaper bags for long weekends at Nana's, and soon we'll be packing trunks for long semesters at college. Over these last 2 years as a member of your VOD, I've had the tremendous good fortune of working with 2 very smart, very funny, very capable women who, while we didn't always agree, we knew we always had each other's backs. Together, we have beaten back challenges and accomplished some truly great things for this temple. None of this would have been possible without collaboration, hard work, and a lot of patience. Although I'm the one speaking up here during the High Holy Days, on our VOD, there is no me, there is only us. So I would be remiss in my last High Holy Day speech if I didn't acknowledge the hard work of my co-presidents, Iris Bacchino and Patty Malo, or, as Jennifer refers to them, my temple wives. Not to be confused with my football wives, my work wives, or my softball wives. But next to my actual wife, Jennifer, no one has had to put up with more of my idiosyncrasies than Patty and Iris. And as a bonus, Harry, Iris, Patty spells out a really cool acronym. So here is the final High Holy Day speech from your hip. Over the past few years, I've used these speeches to emphasize that Temple Shalom, who we are as a congregation, is not about a building or a place. I've always said that Temple Shalom is a feeling that you carry around with you in your heart. Well, that sentiment has truly been tested in ways that no one could have ever predicted. As we are all forced to be physically separated, I'm proud to say that our spiritual connection to each other has grown even stronger. Ideally, I would have been speaking about our new vestibule being constructed, continued membership growth, or the trips Sherry had planned for our mitzvah and post-mitzvah students. For those were all expected milestones we had set for this upcoming year. Yet, as my mother is fond of saying, we make plans and God laughs. So instead, I want to use this time to talk about our connections. Connections to each other, connections to our faith, and most importantly, connections to our spiritual home, Temple Shalom. Because in times like this, it is our connections that will see us through the most difficult of times, and we must always make sure that those connections are nurtured. This pandemic has pushed clergy, staff, and yes, our congregation to truly demonstrate who we are, how we can adjust, and how we would find who we are as a people for generations to come. Have we perfected all that we can be yet? No, for sure not. But we continue to innovate and create to make sure that we stay connected, we pursue our Jewish heritage, and we continue to preserve everything we are, even during these extraordinary times. Iris and Sherry have continued to evolve our education curriculum and strengthen our virtual learning platform. They have created a virtual classroom Brit, or agreement, that defines responsibilities for kids and teachers alike in this new remote learning environment. They're utilizing Zoom to introduce new faculty and even providing tutorials for parents who are not yet comfortable using Zoom technology. Rabbi Groffman and Cantor Feibush have helped us preserve our spiritual journeys with engaging virtual services in adult education. Along with lay leadership, we continue our phone outreach program to ensure our congregation is well in both body and spirit. Working with our staff and volunteers, clergy has created Shalom Waves so that we can be connected in close proximity and responsibly share time and conversation together. As we adjust to this new world, there will be even more programming to provide additional social opportunities, more education, and more connections, even while we work through this time apart. All of this is done for you, our congregation, so that we can continue to find strength in one another. But I'm here to tell you that without you, none of this will matter. Because not just our temple, but religious organizations across the country are in grave danger. This pandemic has placed even financially secure institutions like ours in precarious situations, and we need your help now more than ever. Traditionally, Yom Kippur kicks off our High Holy Day appeal. You all know it's coming, and so here it is, and it's more important than ever before. In years past, I've gone through great pains to explain that our budget doesn't work without your donations. Some of you listen, too many of you don't. Membership dues only cover 70% of our annual budget. Without your donations, we don't make our budget, bills don't get paid, clergy and staff don't get paid, building repairs can't be made, and frankly, you, our congregation, won't have a temple. Traditionally, 63% of our congregation donates, but that number should be and must be higher. If you care at all about Temple Shalom, then support Temple Shalom. Support it through donations, not just words. I know it's hard financially for everyone. I've been in finance for over 32 years, and if anyone understands the financial distress of institutions and individuals alike, it's me. But loving something, loving your spiritual home, Temple Shalom, means helping out not just when times are easy, but also when times are hard. These difficult times test us all. They test our character and test how far we are willing to go for something that is dear to us. How far will you go for your beloved temple? When all of this is over, think how wonderful it will be to all gather in the sanctuary again and celebrate together, to stand with one another, knowing that during these difficult times, we stood for Temple Shalom. The amount you donate isn't as significant as the fact that you actually do donate. $18 or $180. It's about the intent more than the amount. I've said many times that without you, there is no us. And it's my hope that you take this opportunity to ensure that this us, Temple Shalom, is here for many generations to come. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for the donations I hope you will soon make.
We continue with Avinu Malkeinu on page 252. We invite you to rise if you are able. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lifanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, V'al Olaleinu V'tzapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Dever V'cherev V'ra'av Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kol Tsar Umastin Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, Kodvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, Malei Yadeinu Mabirchotecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, Harem Keren Mishichecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, Na'al Tishivenu Rekam Milfanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing. Avinu Malkeinu, Kabel barachamim uvratzon et tefilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu lema'an shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh lemancha imlo lema'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu melech ela ata. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, petach sha'arei shemayim letfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, shma kolenu, chus v'rachem aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion. Avinu Malkeinu, chanenu va'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshi'enu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu va'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu.
Please be seated. Our Torah reading for Yom Kippur morning is taken from the latter part of the book of Deuteronomy, Parshat Nitzavim, the story of the renewal of the covenant between God and the Israelite people shortly before their entrance into the Promised Land. Our Torah reading for this morning will be done for us by Relda Sher. And if you'd like to follow along with the text of the Torah reading, please turn to page 266.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato, Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem Rashechem Shiftechem Ziknechem Veshot Rechem Kol Ish Yisrael Tapchem Nishechem V'gericha Asher B'kerev Machanecha Mekotev Eitzecha Ad Shoev Meimecha Le'ovrecha Bivrit Adonai Elohecha Uvalato Asher Adonai Elohecha Koreit Imcha Hayom Lema'an Hakim Othcha Hayom Lo Le'am Vehu Yiyelecha Le'Elohim Ka'asher Diber Lach V'Ka'asher Nishpa La'avotecha Le'Avraham Le'Yitzchak Yaakov, velo itchem levadchem, et Anochi koreit et habrit hazot ve'et ha'ala hazot ki et asher yeshno po imanu omed hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu va'et asher einenu po imanu hayom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
We continue with our prayer for healing on page 271. Misha berach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May the one who brought blessings to our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to our mothers Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bring the blessing of health to those who are ill. May the Holy One, blessed source of life and healing, sustain and strengthen them with compassion and restore them to full health without delay. For all who struggle against illness, let renewal of spirit and renewal of body come soon. And together we say, Amen. Our selection from the prophets this morning for Yom Kippur, our Haftarah reading, is from the 58th chapter of the book of Isaiah. And as has been the custom for many years, Sue Sandler will be our Haftarah reader, and the Haftarah blessings will be done by her granddaughters, Jessie and Sarah. If you'd like to follow along with the text of the Haftarah reading, please turn to page 277.
Hi, this is Sarah Barker, Richard and Sue Sandler's granddaughter, reading the Before the Haftarah blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzach v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
God says, cry aloud, do not hold back. Let your voice resound like a shofar, and declare to my people their transgression, and to the house of Jacob their sin. Yes, they seek me daily, as though eager to learn my ways, as if they were a nation that does what is right and has not forsaken the teachings of its God. They ask of me the right way, as though eager for the nearness of God. When we fast, you say, why do you pay no heed? Why, when we afflict ourselves, do you take no notice? Why? Because even on your fast day, you think only of your business and oppress all your workers. because your fasting leads only to strife and discord and hitting out with cruel fist. Such a way of fasting on this day will not help you to be heard on high. Is this the fast I look for, a day of self-affliction, bowing your head like a reed, covering yourself with sackcloth and ashes? Is this what you call a fast, a day acceptable to Adonai? Or is not this the fast that I look for? To unlock the shackles of injustice, to undo the fetters of bondage, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every cruel chain? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, and to bring the homeless poor into your house, and when you see the naked to clothe them, and never to neglect your own flesh and blood? Then shall your light blaze forth like the dawn, and your wounds quickly heal. Your righteous one will walk before you, and the presence of Adonai will be your rear guard. Then when you call, Adonai will answer. When you cry, God will respond, "Here I am." If you remove the chains of oppression, the menacing hand, the malicious word, if you make sacrifices for the hungry and satisfy the needs of the afflicted, then shall your light shine in the darkness, and your night become bright as noon. Adonai will guide you, always, slaking your thirst in drought and renewing your body's strength. You shall become like a well-watered garden, like an unfailing spring. Your people shall rebuild the ancient ruins and lay foundations for ages yet to come. You shall be called repairer of the breach, restorer of streets to dwell in. If you refrain from trampling the Sabbath, from pursuing your affairs on my holy day, if you call the Sabbath a delight and honor my holy day, if you treat it with reverence and do not look to your business or speak of it, then you can seek the favor of Adonai. I will cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth, and I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob, your father. This is the promise of Adonai.
This is Jessica Hahn, Sue and Dick's granddaughter, and Shoshana Hahn, the newest addition to the Sandler family tree, here to do the After the Haftarah blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, tor kol haolamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'yoseh, ha'meraber u'mkayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah v'al ha'avodah v'al ha'navim v'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, limhila v'lislicha, ulkapara lehavod ultifarech, al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim la, umvarchim ota, yitbarashim ha, pafiko hai, tamid leolam va'ed, udbarach emet v'chayam le'ad, baruch atah Adonai, melech mochel v'soleach, la'avonotenu, ve'la'avonot amo beit Yisrael, uma'avir ashmotenu b'chol shana v'shana, mele al kol ha'aretz, mekadesh Yisrael, ve'yom ha'kippurim.
Prayer for our congregation. Eternal Presence, who blessed our mothers and fathers, bless this holy congregation, a house of study, prayer, and righteous deeds. Together we give thanks for our leaders, those who learn, teach, and uphold the Torah, inspiring others to learn, teach, and uphold the Torah. Those who do the sacred work of building our community, may their service bring them joy, fulfillment, and purpose, and may they go from strength to strength. For our members, diverse in age, interest, and background, Jews by birth, Jews by choice, and those of other faiths who join with us, all who offer their time and talent, their love and commitment. For all who come here on this holy day of Yom Kippur to share the search for meaning and renewal, your presence is a blessing, your friendship is a gift. May the spirit of peace, dignity, respect live within these walls, inspiring us to care for one another with compassion. And may we be a source of goodness, light, and healing for the world. May the one who blessed the generations before us bless us as we stand together this day. One congregation, joined with all Jewish communities of the world, through our prayers on this festival of the New Year. Let us renew ourselves for the year ahead. Let us honor the precious legacy that is ours. In closing, it is nice to go through life to want everything, but it's much nicer to be wanted.
Rabbi Hugo Green, who was in Auschwitz as a child along with his father, recalls in his memoir, "The Jewish prisoners in our barracks decided that we would celebrate Hanukkah by lighting a menorah every night. Bits of wood and metal were collected and shaped into light holders, and everyone agreed to save the week's meager ration of margarine that would be used for fuel. It was my job to take apart an abandoned prison cap and fashion wicks from its threads. On the first night of Hanukkah, most of us gathered around the menorah. 2 portions of margarine were melted down, my wicks in place. We chanted the blessing, praising God who performed miracles for our ancestors in those days and at this time. And as I tried to light the wick, there was only a bit of spluttering and no flame. What the scientists in our midst failed to point out was that margarine does not burn. As we dispersed and made our way to the bunk beds, I turned not so much to my father, but on him, upset at the fiasco and bemoaning this waste of precious calories. Patiently, he taught me one of the most lasting lessons of my life, and I believe that he made my survival possible. Don't be so angry, he said to me. You know that this festival celebrates the victory of the Spirit over tyranny and might. You and I have had to go once for over a week without proper food, and another time almost 3 days without water. But you cannot live for 3 minutes without hope. I like to believe that we Jews have survived as long as we have, precisely because we are the type of people willing to burn what little margarine we have to kindle a flicker of hope, even in the most dire circumstances. Hope is an essential part of the Jewish worldview. Every year on Yom Kippur, we embrace Judaism's message of hope, that we can be better, that we can make each other better, and that we can make our world better. God looks not to punish us, but encourages us to change because we need to, and because God believes that we can. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs has taught, hope is one of the very greatest Jewish contributions to Western civilization, so much so that I have called Judaism the voice of hope in the conversation of humankind. In the ancient world, there were tragic cultures in which people believed that the gods were at best indifferent to our existence, at worst actively malevolent. The best humans can do is avoid their attention or appease their wrath. In the end, though, it is all in vain. We are destined to see our dreams wrecked on the rocks of reality. Then there are secular cultures like that of the contemporary West, in which the very existence of the universe of human life and consciousness is seen as a result of a series of meaningless accidents intended by no one and with no redeeming purpose. All we know for certain is that we are born, we live, we will die, and it will be as if we had never been. For the most part, the Hebrew Bible expresses a quite different view, that there can be change in the affairs of humankind. Judaism is a principled rejection of tragedy in the name of hope. Needless to say, we can all use a little bit of hope right now as we continue to grapple with an ongoing pandemic that has killed an astonishing number of people, sickened many others, and disrupted all of our lives in a variety of ways. Yet, as much as we need and desire it, hope is not something that magically appears. However, we can create hope. And if inmates at Auschwitz can find a way to hope, then so can we. As Rabbi Stephen Bob writes, in our individual lives, we need to impose hope rather than wait for our experiences to create it. Hope illuminates the path from here to there. Hope is not the light at the end of the tunnel. Hope lights up the interior of the tunnel, making it possible for us to move forward. How do we impose hope? With one magic word, found as Rabbi Avi Straussberg teaches in the book of Jonah, which we read this afternoon. That magic word is ulai, perhaps. You recall that God tells Jonah to go to the Assyrian city of Nineveh and tell the Ninevites to repent from their evil ways. Jonah is extremely not interested, and he attempts to flee from God's mission by boarding a ship to Tarshish, which is in the complete opposite direction of Nineveh, apparently operating under the questionable assumption that the omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent God, in a little-known quirk, suffers from thalassophobia, aka a fear of the open ocean, and therefore will not bother looking for Jonah as Jonah plays shuffleboard, lounges by the pool, sipping watered-down, overpriced cocktails, and doing karaoke to cheesy 1980s arena rock songs on the SS Mesopotamia. Now the ship encounters a terrible storm. While everyone else on board starts praying to their own gods and throwing cargo overboard to lighten the weight of the ship, Jonah's contribution to this noble attempt to save the ship and the people on board is to go below deck and take a nap. He does not try to help, he simply checks out. Now the captain of the ship says to Jonah, "Why are you sleeping? Get up, call to your God. Ulai, maybe, perhaps, God will notice us and we will not perish." Rabbi Straussberg shares a teaching from Rabbi Alex Weissman, who asks us to notice that the captain does not make any promises to Jonah. The captain doesn't say, "Have hope, turn to God," with the certainty that things will work out. As Rabbi Straussberg writes, rather he says, "Ulai, maybe God will take notice. Maybe we will be saved." But this giving in to despair, this allowing oneself to be paralyzed, sleeping on the bottom of the boat while the world around you falls apart, this is unacceptable. You've got to choose hope. You've got to believe in the maybe. When we say ulai, maybe, we are choosing a new perspective. We're saying, while there are no guarantees in life, and while there is plenty of tragedy and sadness that we rightfully can feel despair over, when we say ulai, we say that, in essence, we can act. We can act because maybe it will make a difference. Checking out and hiding below deck is not an option. When we choose despair instead of hope, we don't act. When we don't act, nothing can change. When we choose to say ulai, perhaps, then we have hope. And when we have hope, we act. And when we act, there is the possibility of change. The power of ulai, the ability to impose hope, can apply to any number of arenas and areas in our lives. Yom Kippur is, of course, a time when we focus on how we have hurt others and how others have hurt us. The power of ulai, of maybe, can help us impose hope that maybe we can repair our broken relationships by choosing to view conflict not as a sign that a relationship is necessarily over forever. Instead, we can see it as a sign that the relationship requires work. In the same way that physical pain is a signal that something is wrong in our bodies and we need to treat it. A caveat. Just as there are physical ailments that do not respond to treatment, there are relationships that are so severely broken that repair is not a realistic option. It is also true that many times the possibility of repair is real, made more real with the help of some reframing. When someone hurts us, we can choose to see him or her as irredeemably bad, which of course makes reconciliation much less likely. Or we can choose to think that maybe, ulai, that person is a good person who made a mistake, like we all do. We can remember that oftentimes people hurt us because they are struggling internally. Philo of Alexandria, the first-century Jewish philosopher, once said, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a great battle." Is it possible, perhaps, that when someone hurts us, it's not about us, but it's a result of the great internal battle they are struggling with? As the saying goes, hurt people hurt. Mind you, this does not excuse or lessen the hurt we sustained, but perhaps, ulai, we can move from anger at that person to empathy with the internal pain that may have led that person to hurt us. And when we do that, we can set our anger aside and create the possibility of honest conversation, mutual understanding, and possibly, ulai, reconciliation. Just as empathizing with the struggles of those who have hurt us can open the door to potential reconciliation, empathizing with ourselves when we cause someone hurt also helps pave the way to repair. Yom Kippur does not let us off the hook for our actions. We need to take full responsibility for the mistakes we make and the hurt we cause. Yet, if the goal is teshuvah, making things right, perhaps we can view ourselves with a little latitude. We can remember that often we make the choices we feel are right at the time, or we react emotionally in a particular tough moment, and we say or do something that hurts others. This doesn't make our harmful actions okay. It is, however, human. If we beat ourselves up too much and for too long, we close off the possibility that we can ever repair the relationship. We say, that person I hurt will never forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness, so why even try? But if we choose to say, ulai, perhaps, if I ask for forgiveness, maybe the people I have hurt will be understanding and they can forgive me, and then we will try to set things right, and maybe we can save our relationship. The power of ulai, of perhaps, of the maybe, is not only in giving us hope that we can do teshuvah and save our relationships and improve our personal character, but Yom Kippur is a day when we say perhaps we can improve our world, our mission as Jews. In our Haftarah reading for today, the prophet Isaiah reminds us that religion and improving society go hand in hand. In fact, creating a better world is a fundamental religious principle. Isaiah's message is that religious ritual is useless if not joined to concrete action to right the wrongs of society. In his words, is such the fast I desire, a day for men to starve their bodies? Is it bowing the head like a bulrush and lying in sackcloth and ashes? Do you call that a fast, a day when God is favorable? No, this is the fast I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. It is to share your bread with the hungry and to take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, to clothe them and not to ignore your own kin. Then shall your light burst through like the dawn and your healing spring up quickly. Then when you call, God will answer. When you cry, God will say, "Here I am." If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand and evil speech, and you offer your compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then shall your light shine in darkness, and your gloom shall be like noonday. I hear these as hopeful words. God believes in us. God believes we can create a more fair and compassionate society. Otherwise, why would God call us to do so? Isaiah's message is that Judaism is most definitely not about going below deck and sleeping through the storm. Isaiah tells us that to be a Jew means going into the storm and shining light in darkness. We are living in a stormy world, and we all know there is no guarantee that we can create the kind of world Isaiah envisions. And that, I think, is why Isaiah's words strike me so powerfully, because he is challenging us to embrace the power of ulai, of maybe. Isaiah gives us hope. He says that we can and are, in fact, called by God to create a better world. When we believe that our actions can make a difference, that what we do matters, then we are inspired to act. And when we act, then maybe, ulai, we will let the oppressed go free and share our bread with the hungry and clothe the naked. This year we can all say ulai and take action. Maybe we can save our environment. Maybe we can create a world where no one is targeted because of their race or their religion or their national origin. Maybe we can create a world where every child has enough food to eat and a decent education. Today we read in the Torah that God gives us the choice to choose blessing or curse, life or death. We can choose the curse of despair and hopelessness, thereby guaranteeing death of the spirit. Or we can choose the blessing of hope, the power of ulai, of finding blessing even during hardship, easier said than done, of course. To find comfort in the midst of pain, also easier said than done. To find determination in the face of great challenges, thereby guaranteeing life of the Spirit. We will light the margarine. We will wake up and climb above deck, and we will go through the storm, because that is what we Jews have always done. As the scholar Dr. Erica Brown writes, Jewish history is a story of the impossible. Carried within each of us is the touchstone of the impossible. When we face despair, we can overcome, we have overcome. When we review our past, we reject despair because we can sum it up in one word: hope. We continue now with Vidui Uslichot, prayers of confession and forgiveness. Please turn to page 296. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Please rise.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avot avotenu v'imotenu. Tavo lefanecha tefilatenu. Me'ati talam mitchinatenu. Anachnu azeifanim ukshei oref lomar lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu tzadikim anachnu v'lo chatanu aval anachnu chatanu. Please join me responsively with Ashamnu. I da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 Ashamnu Bagadnu Gazalnu Dibarnu dofi I da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 He'evinu V'hirshanu Zadnu Chamasnu Tafalnu Sheker I da 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 Yatznu Ra Kizavnu Latznu Maradnu Niatznu Ayadai dai dai da da dai 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 da da dai 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 Sararnu Avinu Pashanu Tsararnu Kishinu Oref Ayadai dai dai da da dai 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 da da dai 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 Rashanu Shichatnu Ti'avnu Talinu Titanu Ayadai dai dai da da dai 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 da da dai dai dai.
Of all these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely, we are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes, we are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. Our turning away from your mitzvot and laws of goodness is a hollow pursuit. You are just concerning all that happens in our lives. Your way is the way of truth, while ours leads to error. What can we say to you, whose existence is beyond time and space? What words of ours can reach your realm beyond the stars, beyond the clouds, beyond heaven itself? Every hidden mystery, every revelation, surely you know them all. You know the secrets of the universe and the secrets of the human heart. You know and understand us, for you examine our inner lives. Nothing is concealed from you, nothing hidden from your sight. Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, we pray that this be your will. Forgive all our wrongs. Pardon us for every act of injustice. Help us to atone for all our moral failures.
Please be seated. We continue on page 300 with Vidui Rabbah, the long confession. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha ba'ones uvratzon, al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'yodim uvli yodim, the ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, and harm we have caused in your world consciously and unconsciously. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'vli da'at, al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ritzat reglayim nahara, the ways we have wronged you through our thoughtlessness, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chozek yad, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'zilzu horim umorim, the ways we have wronged you by abusing our power, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'yetzer hara, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'kashiyut oref, the ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chachash u'v'chazav, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'kalut rosh, the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'siach sifotenu, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'tzarut ayin, the ways we have wronged you in our routine conversations, and harm we have caused in your world through envy. V'al kulam melohas lichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Ve'al kulam elo sinichot, silach lanu, michal lanu, kaper lanu.
Page 304. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha begalui uvesater, al chet shechatanu lefanecha besinat chinam, the ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'refikat ol, al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ma'achal uv'mishteh, the ways we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha begilui arayot, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha be'imutz halev. The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha beneshech uv'marbit, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'masa uv'matan. The ways we have wronged you through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha behirhur halev, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha berichilut. The ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bechafat shochad, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha bechilul Hashem. The ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, and harm we have caused in your world by profaning your name in public. V'al kulam Elohas slichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Ve'al kulam Eloah silichot, selach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu. Ve'al kulam Eloah silichot, selach lanu mechal lanu, selach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu. We continue on page 316. Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chuz v'rachem aleinu, aleinu. V'kabel b'rachamim, b'rachamim u'ratzon et Hashivenu Adonai elecha, Hashivenu elecha v'noshuva, Chodesh Yameinu, Yameinu kekedem. Amareinu azina Adonai bina hagigenu. Hiu l'ratzon imreifinu, ve'hegion libeinu lefanecha. Adonai tzureinu, v'goleinu. Tashlichenu milfanecha, veruach kodshecha, al tikach mimenu. Tashlichenu. Al tashlichenu. Tazveinu Adonai Eloheinu, al tirchak mimenu, ki lecha Adonai ochalnu. Atata,